You won't believe what happened just 60 seconds after they tore her skirt in front of the whole school, but before I tell you what she did next, let me take you back a few days earlier, to the moment everything began to spiral, and to the moment she decided she was done being broken. It started on a humid Monday morning, the kind that wraps you in a thick fog of nerves and sweat. For Maya, the first day at her new school wasn't just a fresh start, it was a test of survival. Being the new girl was never easy, but being the different girl, that was a whole other storm. Maya had recently moved from Georgia to a city that couldn't have felt more foreign. Her skin, dark as fresh soil, stood out in the halls of Birchwood High where most faces didn't look like hers. Her accent was different, her clothes were different, but her heart, it was the same, tender, brave, and quietly burning with dreams. She clutched her notebook to her chest as she walked through the crowded hallway. Whispers trailed behind her, stares lingered a bit too long, and laughter echoed in ways that didn't feel right. But she kept her chin high. Because Maya's mama had taught her one thing: you don't bow your head to bullies. You raise your crown higher. By lunch, she'd already been called country girl, weird, and charcoal stick. She found a spot alone under the stairs, next to a vending machine that buzzed louder than the cafeteria's cruel gossip. That's when they approached. 3 girls. The kind you recognize even before they speak. Glossy lips, sharpened nails, designer bags with knives behind their smiles. Their leader, Lexi Monroe, blonde, ruthless, and addicted to attention. "Oh my God, look at this," Lexi snickered, pointing to Maya's long skirt. "Are you from the 1800s? Or is this like Amish cosplay?" Her friends cackled. Maya didn't flinch. She had learned early on that silence sometimes bruised them more than insults. But Lexi wasn't done. "What? No comeback? Oh wait, maybe you're mute too." She stepped closer, her voice now a whisper meant to cut. "You don't belong here, freak. You'll never belong." Maya took a slow breath. "I belong wherever I say I do." That's when it happened. With a sudden, violent motion, Lexi reached down and yanked the hem of Maya's skirt. The seams tore like paper, fabric ripping up the side as the hallway turned into a gasping, jeering theater. Phones came out. Laughter exploded. Maya stood frozen, her hands gripping the shreds of fabric around her legs, her cheeks burning with a humiliation that went bone deep. But it was what she did next that made everyone fall silent. In the next 60 seconds, Maya didn't cry. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She stood tall. She let go of the torn skirt, revealing a pair of customized leggings underneath, painted by her own hands with images of powerful black women in history: Rosa Parks, Maya Angelou, Harriet Tubman, each one staring back at the crowd like a shield of ancestors standing beside her. And then, Maya said 5 words that would go viral by nightfall. "I dress for my story." The hallway went still. Even Lexi's smirk fell apart. And in that moment, Maya did more than reclaim her skirt. She reclaimed herself. But that was just the beginning. Want to hear what Maya did next? The revenge, the twist, the way she turned the entire school on its head. Then stay tuned for by sunset that same day, #I dress for my story was trending on TikTok. Students at Birchwood High who had laughed earlier were now reposting the clip with stunned admiration. Some were even deleting their own videos, too ashamed to be on the wrong side of the moment. But none of that mattered to Maya. She wasn't looking for followers. She wasn't looking for pity. She was looking for change. When she got home that evening, her mother met her at the door. She'd already seen the video. Her eyes were wet, but proud. "They tried to strip you," her mom whispered, cupping Maya's face. "But baby, you showed them your armor." Maya smiled through her pain. "It still hurts, Mama." "I know," she said. "But you stood tall in the fire. Now it's time to teach them not to play with matches." That night, Maya stayed up painting again. This time not just leggings, but a jacket, a tote bag, a pair of old sneakers. Each item carried art that told stories: women marching, fists raised, girls reading, queens crowned. And the next morning, Maya walked back into school like she was walking into her destiny. She didn't sneak in through the back. She walked straight through the front doors, wearing her jacket of protest and pride. The halls that once echoed with cruel laughter fell into silence as she passed. Eyes widened. Phones came out again. But this time, not to mock her, this time, to capture her. Lexi Monroe stood at her locker, frozen like she'd seen a ghost. Maya didn't even look at her. She walked past as if Lexi didn't exist. Because she didn't, not in Maya's world. Not anymore. But the universe wasn't done. At lunch, Principal Hardin called Maya to her office. Sitting across from him was Lexi, arms crossed, lips tight, trying to appear unbothered but clearly shaken. "Miss Brooks," the principal began, "there's been considerable attention regarding yesterday's incident." Maya nodded. Calm, unapologetic. Lexi cut in with a practiced whine. "She's milking it. I mean, everyone's acting like she's some kind of hero just because she got a little tear in her skirt." Maya turned slowly to Lexi. "You didn't tear my skirt. You tried to tear my dignity. Big difference." Principal Hardin cleared his throat. "Regardless of interpretation, I reviewed the footage. And Lexi, what you did was assault. You're suspended for 2 weeks." Lexi gasped. "What? This is unfair. She's the one making me look like." "You made yourself look like that," Maya said softly. "You just didn't like seeing it on camera." And with that, Maya walked out. But the story didn't end in that office. The following week, students began approaching her. Quietly at first. A girl from the sophomore class who'd been mocked for her weight. A boy who wore nail polish and got shoved for it. Even one of Lexi's own friends who admitted, "I didn't want to laugh. I just didn't know how to stand up." Maya didn't push them away. She welcomed them. And soon, the whispers turned into momentum. She launched a student group called the Bold Club, where anyone who'd been silenced, mocked, or pushed to the edge could come and speak. Or not speak. Just be. Within a month, the school started changing. Dress codes were revisited. Teachers began integrating cultural education into their classes. And art from the Bold Club, handmade jackets, poems, protest posters, lined the hallway walls like a living museum of resilience. In Maya, she became something more than a viral moment. She became a symbol, not of perfection, not of revenge, but of transformation. One day, in the same hallway where her skirt had been torn, Maya set up a mural. It was called, 60 Seconds After. And at the center, painted by Maya's own hands, was a dark-skinned girl standing barefoot in a sea of torn cloth. Head held high, eyes glowing, surrounded by shadows of those who once mocked her now painted as silhouettes watching in awe. Underneath it read, "So if you've ever been laughed at, pushed down, or made to feel small, remember Maya's story. You are not defined by what they try to tear off you. You are defined by what you choose to wear with pride." If her story moved you, inspired you, or made you feel a little braver, please tap that like button and subscribe to our channel. Because there's someone out there right now who's feeling just like Maya did, until they hear this. And maybe 60 seconds from now, their life will change too. You would think that after everything Maya had done, after standing tall in the face of humiliation, after launching the Bold Club, after becoming a voice for the silenced, that the world would finally let her breathe. But the truth is, the higher you rise, the more they want to pull you down. It started subtly. A fake Instagram account posting edits of Maya's face with cruel captions. Anonymous notes slipped into her locker saying things like, "You're not a hero. You're just loud." And then it got worse. One afternoon, Maya came home to find her front gate spray painted with the word, "liar." Her hands trembled. Her mother stood behind her, silent, heartbroken. They reported it. The school claimed they couldn't do much unless someone was caught in the act. And the police? They shrugged. No fingerprints. No cameras. No real harm. But there was harm. There was fear. There was exhaustion. Maya began skipping meetings of the Bold Club. She stopped painting. Her leggings and jackets, the ones she had once worn like armor, were now folded in the back of her drawer. For the first time since her skirt was torn, Maya didn't feel bold. She felt tired. One night, curled up on her bed, she whispered to her ceiling, "Why me? Why do I always have to be strong?" And that's when she heard it. Not a voice. Not words. Just a feeling deep in her chest. A reminder. Maya sat up. The next day, she wore her paint-splattered jacket again. But she didn't go back to her club meeting. She went to the principal's office. Not to complain. To demand a change. She stood tall in front of Principal Hardin and said, "You told me to speak up. So I'm speaking. I need a platform, not just for me, but for every student who gets harassed and then ignored. I want to organize something. A school-wide event. He raised an eyebrow. What kind of event? Maya answered without hesitation, the bold march. It was more than a protest. It was a movement. Within a week, posters went up across campus. Maya, with the help of her club and even some unexpected allies, including Lexi's old friend Amelia, organized students to share their stories through art, poetry, and music. But the day before the march, Maya got a message. A video file sent from an unknown number. It showed her in the locker room. Changing. The message attached said, "Cancel the march or this goes online." For a moment, her heart shattered. This wasn't just bullying anymore. This was digital form. She stared at the screen, trembling. And then, she closed the message. She didn't reply. She didn't cancel the march. She walked into school the next day holding a megaphone and leading over 200 students through the halls, holding signs that read, Maya stood at the front steps of the school as the crowd settled behind her. With cameras filming and news reporters arriving, she spoke. "My name is Maya Brooks. And I've been mocked, filmed without my consent, and called every name in the book. But I am not a victim. I'm a survivor. I'm a warrior. And I am not alone." The crowd erupted in cheers. And for the first time since that skirt was torn, Maya smiled without fear. The video was never leaked. Whether it was a bluff or the person behind it saw Maya's strength and backed down, no one ever knew. But what was leaked was her speech. Her story. And that video became more viral than any cruel moment ever had. National newspapers picked it up. Maya was invited to speak on a youth activism panel. She got a scholarship offer from a university that believed in turning pain into purpose. As for Lexi, she transferred schools the following semester. Rumor had it, her family couldn't take the public heat after her actions were exposed. But Maya never mentioned her again. Because Maya didn't believe in holding on to hate. She believed in growing past it. The final painting Maya ever made at Birchwood High still hangs outside the main auditorium. It shows a girl standing on a staircase, surrounded by broken mirrors, each shard reflecting a different version of herself. One is crying, one is angry, one is scared, but the girl at the top, she's standing tall, arms outstretched, covered in bold colors and fearless light. At the bottom, written in gold paint, is a single sentence, "And now, to everyone watching this. If Maya's story moved you, if it reminded you of your strength, if it made you feel like maybe, just maybe, you're not alone. Then don't scroll past, and most importantly, because the world doesn't change from silence. It changes when someone dares to stand up, even after they've been torn down. And maybe that someone, is you. Dash dash dash.